Hello and welcome to the International Daily Roundup by People's Dispatch, where we look at some of the major news developments of the day. We begin with the exchange of fire between Israel and Hezbollah at the Israel-Lebanon border yesterday. Here is what Prabir Purkayastha of NewsClick had to say on this issue.
Yesterday we saw an exchange of missile and mortar fire across the Lebanese-Israeli border between the Hezbollah and the Israeli Defense Forces. This is the first time after the 2006 war that we have seen such an exchange. This was not unexpected because Nasrallah had already warned Israel that its drone attacks on Beirut would be responded to, and this indeed seems to have been the response that Hezbollah has done against Israel. It doesn't appear that there were casualties on either side, but some damage has taken place on both sides due to the exchange of missiles and the kind of mortar fire that has taken place there. It does appear that at the moment this is not going to go further, and we are not likely to see it escalate to a war. But nevertheless, the situation between Israel and Lebanon, Hezbollah, remains at, shall we say, at a teetering point. At any point it can explode into further hostilities, in which case we can expect perhaps another round of fighting between Hezbollah and the Israeli Defense Forces. But at the moment, Hezbollah has delivered its message, and it does look like Israel is not going to risk further into an escalation. However, Israel's elections are taking place. It's quite possible that Netanyahu, in order to win a difficult election, may undertake certain grandstanding in Lebanon, and this could have unexpected repercussions. So we have to see what happens. It does appear that at the moment Hezbollah's military strength and the ability to hit targets within Israel, particularly with rockets, missiles and drones, is leading to a rethinking of the strategic calculus between Lebanon, Hezbollah and Israel. And this is something we have to see how the Israeli Defense Forces, how Israel reacts to this, because it does seem that it's days where it could walk into any Arab country, beat up the, shall we say, the military, beat up the people and retreat is not really likely to happen again, at least in Lebanon and with Hezbollah. This was shown in the 2006 war itself, and this seems to be also the message Hezbollah is sending from Lebanon.
We now move on to the struggle of the West Papuans against Indonesian repression. The spokesperson of the Indonesian People's Front for West Papua, Surya Anta, along with 7 students from Jakarta, have been arrested in a new wave of police repression. According to sources, the arrests were made by the Jakarta police without any warrants. The 8 people were arrested over a span of 2 days on August 30th and 31st. Some of them were detained for participating in solidarity demonstrations that were held in different parts of the capital city. 2 people were also arrested for participating in protests against the detention of 6 people earlier. In the meanwhile, Indonesian security forces also detained around 28 protesters in the West Papuan capital of Jayapura. The state forces said they were responsible for the destruction of public property. Since August 16th, the provinces of Papua and West Papua have seen massive mobilizations and protests. These agitations were held in response to the mass arrest of more than 160 people in a span of 2 days ahead of the Indonesian Independence Day. At the same time, Papuan students in Java and Sumatra were also at the receiving end of racist attacks and mob violence instigated by rumor mongering, allegedly with the complicity of local governments. The government responded to these protests with further militarization of the region and used repressive measures against the protesters. Over the past week, police firing and violence has killed 11 people and injured dozens. In our final story, we look at a Saudi attack on Yemen. Saudi Arabia carried out yet another attack on Sunday, killing more than 100 inmates in a prison in Dhamar town in the Houthi-controlled region of Yemen. According to the Red Cross, the prison had 170 inmates. The United Nations Special Envoy in the country, Martin Griffith, condemned the attack and asked coalition forces to investigate the incident. The Saudi-led coalition claimed that the target was a Houthi weapons depot. Houthi officials have, however, denied the claim and said that the site was a weapons store. According to them, it was a college which was destroyed in a previous Saudi airstrike. Since then, it had been converted into a prison. The Saudi coalition has carried out more than 18,000 raids in the Houthi-controlled regions in Yemen since 2015, often targeting civilians and basic infrastructure, such as colleges, schools, hospitals, wedding processions, etc. These attacks, often in violation of international war norms, have led to the death of thousands of innocent civilians in Yemen. The Saudi-led coalition, in support of the Abdur Rabb Mansour Hadi government, has been struggling lately due to the infighting between its constituents on the ground and the rising disagreements between Saudi Arabia and the UAE. That's all we have time for today. To know more about these stories, visit our website peoplesdispatch.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for watching.